when you woke up this morning, what do you think about the day ahead of you? What was on your mind? Was there lots of worries, or was there a looking forward to the day ahead?
I always look forward to every single day, and when I wake up, first things in the morning, I think about taking my little dog to go to the toilets and the weather.
Right, so it's a sunny day today. We're sitting on a bench with the sun shining on our faces. It's a Sunday. There's lots of people wandering past, cycling past. Now, when we started this conversation, I didn't press the right button on the recorder, so I didn't record what we talked about. In short, you mentioned the fact that 2014, you were given a diagnosis of cancer in your kidney and in a lung on the same day. And your reaction to that was to tell your loved ones, give them the news straight up, and kind of get on with the treatment. Is that a fair summary?
Yep.
Did you have any sort of dark moments in the middle of the night where you were considering, the state of your soul and what life is all about?
No.
You're very lucky, I think.
It's all in your brain then. Because what happened after that, no one, including some of the most eminent doctors, if not the world, certainly in Europe, cannot believe.
Now, are you talking about what happened during the treatment or what happened to the cancer?
What happened to the cancer and what happened after my treatment.
So, what exactly happened? What took place that is unusual?
In April 2014, April 2014, they took my right kidney away. They cut that out.
Blimey.
And then in November of 2014, they took my right lung out.
Gosh, so you lost them both?
Yep. And then early 2015, is this what you really wanted to talk about? Sort of medical problems?
That's fine. We talk about whatever comes up.
They took I went through my chemotherapy and my radiotherapy, and hopefully that got rid of it. And it did for about 3.5 years. Yeah. And then in summer of 2018, they found a tumour in my left kidney.
Right, your remaining kidney.
Yeah.
So, having had the shock of the first diagnosis and losing a lung and a kidney, you get the second diagnosis. I'm assuming it wasn't as shocking as the first one because you thought it might happen. So you were kind of steeled for it, or was it still out the blue?
Oh, this was out of the blue, and it was basically a hammer flow, if not a sledgehammer.
So this one really knocked you for six?
Because when the biopsy results come back, I was told that it was called a papillary renal cell carcinoma. And
what's that in plain English?
A rare type of cancer.
Right.
Okay. That was in my kidney, and I had some tumours in my lung, which was picked out, and they weren't particularly worried about that. It was my kidney. And then on December the 20th
of that same year,
2018, at round about 4ish in the afternoon, I was given 6 months to live.
Right, so you've had the hammer blow of the news, and then you're given a time limit.
It wasn't a time limit, it was a sell-by date. And that's what it was.
It does.
And almost 7 years later,
You passed your sell-by date, Colin.
Certainly have, but only because of this clinic in St Bartholomew's Hospital. And they are,
So they work some kind of magic.
yeah, at the beginning, the only thing that was on offer for me was some chemotherapy called sunitinib. And when I asked what that did, all it did was stunt the growth of the tumour.
Right, just hold it in check.
So hopefully that 6 months I've been given, I might get 12 months, but that was it. So I said, okay. I said, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
That's double
And
the
there's-
time. I suppose you have to
yeah.
look on the bright side.
Yep. For 3.5 years, up until October 2022, I was never offered or given any kind of medication for this cancer that had turned up in my left. So the scientists, and this, you're not going to believe this, the scientists questioned whether or not I was actually still alive.
Really?
It goes further. And these scientists were from AstraZeneca. And they tweaked this chemotherapy called sunitinib in between the years of being given a sell-by date and then being told that the tumour is now getting bigger. And they were hoping that the tumour was going to decrease, get smaller. And within 2 months of taking this chemotherapy, it did. And they were totally gobsmacked.
So it wasn't expected to happen. You'd been given a sell-by date.
Yeah.
You've already mentioned the fact that you went 3 years over. Did it get to the... Once you'd gone past the date that they said, the 6 months? It was initially 6 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, the sell-by date, yeah.
Did that mean that as time went on and you got used to the idea, it got easier to live with this situation of a reduced time span or not?
When you was brought up in East London 79 years ago, just literally a few years after the war, and you went through the childhood that I went through, then you learn to live with these things.
So you're saying a tough start in life gives you a resilience?
Of course it does. Oh yes. And it gives you a different outlook on life. And what's in front of me, I fight or I embrace. And that's it.
It sounds very matter of fact. It sounds very stoic. Is stoic the right word?
I wouldn't know what stoic means.
It sounds
Maybe
like you're the embodiment
stubborn.
of it.
Maybe stubborn, I don't know.
And where you're at now is you're in that same situation, or you're in a different situation?
I then started in October of 2022. I started this new chemotherapy, the one that they had tweaked in the years between giving that sell-by date and October 2022. And I'm on the chemotherapy now, which I've been taking for well over 3.5 years now. Touch wood, I'm doing very, very well. And now, every time I go up, every single month, for all my assessments, because I have to go to St Bartholomew's Hospital every month. I have all of my assessments. I have a CT scan, blah, 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 this, that and the other. And I had that done last Thursday, and I go back up on the 18th of December, and then they say to me, "Don't know what you're doing, boy, but
It's working.
get the fuck out of here."
You're a medical marvel.
They cannot believe it. They just literally cannot believe it. And now they're going back through all of my... There's something in me that makes me get through.
Right. So they want to understand what your body does.
Yeah.
Now your wife has
It's
come
my
back.
biological makeup.
Your wife has come back with the dog.
Well,
She
I
needs to
ain't
get on
gonna
with
be
the
long.
day. We can meet another time because I'm local. So we've met up again, Colin. We're on a different bench in a park on a different day. I wanted to meet up so we could get this the sort of second half of the conversation. We've talked about the medical stuff. You mentioned a tough upbringing here in East London, and you said you've been here for 79 years, so you've known the area for 79 years. What was that tough upbringing, and why was it tough?
I was born February 1946, which was literally a few months after the war. East London was literally a bomb site everywhere. And up until I was 4, going on for 5, I lived at home with my so-called dad and mum. They separated, and when I was getting on for 5, along with my sister, who I think was about 6 or 7 years older than me, we were put into a child's institution. That was called Hutton Residential School, which was a little village just outside of Shenfield. Only going to be 6 months, so don't worry. So off we went. For 6 months, for my sister, that was right. 12 years later, I'm still in that school.
Goodness.
Not having anyone, never seeing anyone. I was on my own. And I had to survive on my own. Right up until I was going on for 17. I was over 16, because 16, I remember them telling me, was the official time when they had to throw me out. But because nobody wanted me, I stayed there a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, until an aunt who was a sister of my mother, took me in. That was my childhood. What happened in that childhood was I was never, ever, ever sexually abused, but boy, was I physically abused. Literally, for walking along with your hands in your pocket. We got the cane, and when we got the cane, we fucking well got it, okay. And it was tough. When I look back, it did a few things. Gave me an education for a start, okay. We had, in those days, we had an exam when we left primary school called 11 plus. I was never ever told that if you pass it, you automatically, in those days this was the case, you went to a grammar school. So all the friends I made, and there was many of them at that time, okay, went to the ordinary secondary school, and I was the only one that had to go to a grammar school.
And this is because you passed the exam?
It was called an 11 plus, okay, and I never knew, because if I did, I'd have crossed out everything and got the same marks as them. Okay.
Because you didn't want to
Just-
leave your mates.
Yeah, I just did not want to leave my mates. That was it. And then I was slung out of this school, went to live, well, not live, but went to stay with this aunt until I was, but not for long. It wasn't for long, because I never got on with him, and my aunt was just frightened of him. So
So this is her husband.
yeah.
Right.
So no, they just lived together. So I got rid of them. They got rid of me. I met my wife, and 50 odd years later, going on for 60 years later, we're still here.
When you called your parents your so-called mum and dad, I'm assuming.
Let me stop you there. I know what you're going to ask me. It wasn't until I was 40, round about 40, when my sister was in the process of passing away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
She told me that the reason why I had, and I was very close to my sister, the reason why I had the childhood that I did was because my so-called dad was not my dad.
Right.
He was allegedly an American GI.
Right.
When I knew, and she knew, that she never had too long, and she told me, she said, I've always wanted to tell you this, but I've never. And my first reaction was, did he know, my brother? And she said, yeah. So I said, why has he never told me? That was it. That was it.
So you grew up. So you had a brother and a sister. Did they all get?
No, not my brother.
Slung out of home?
No. My brother was, he was 10 years older than me, okay? And he stayed at home with my dad, or so-called dad.
Right.
Okay. My sister came into the school with me for 6 months, and then she went home, back to them. She got married when she was 17 to get away from the home.
That was her
yeah,
ticket out.
yeah.
Get married quick.
And she did. She met her husband and they got married, okay, and that was it.
Why were you the one who wasn't taken back?
What do you think?
They didn't have enough space for 3 people.
My dad knew that I wasn't his.
Right, but the other 2 were his. Right, so he had a thing against you.
He had a thing against my mum, but obviously I was the one that got it. He took it out.
I'm assuming that over your life you've given quite a lot of thought to your childhood and what happened.
Dave, I spent so much time on my own reading. This residential school, as I say, it was called Hutton Residential School, was a massive, massive place. Okay.
Oh, right, so we're not talking about a
We're
few
not
dozen kids,
we're not
we're
just
talking
talking
about hundreds of
oh
kids.
yeah.
Right.
All from broken homes, that kind of situation.
Right.
Okay. And it was good, and every single house was named after British rivers, and I was in Thames House, okay, and there was Avon House, okay, so on. That was it, and it was well run. You just had to keep an eye out for certain people.
So although you've spoken about it being a school of literally hard knocks, and getting the cane for minor misdemeanors, you still have some respect for how the school was run. It's
Oh,
not.
yes.
It's not like you hated the institution.
No, the school, the institution was run by what was then known as the London County Council, LCC, right, which is now the GLC. Okay. Yeah, in general, you had a lot of opportunities, okay, and you were clothed, you was fed, you were educated if you wanted to be educated, okay. The primary school was a school inside the institution, because this was massive. It was not far short of Victoria Park.
Right.
It was
Very
absolutely
big.
massive. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very big.
And because you all came from broken homes or different difficult circumstances, I'm assuming that that you made friendships there that was strong, or was that incorrect? Did you all keep to yourselves, and were you all quite protective of
No.
your own space?
Whilst I was in the school, we made friendships. Okay, we used to sleep in a big dormitory. Okay, and we made a lot of friends. Okay, but because once children left there, okay, you lost touch with them. Don't forget, you didn't have the technology in those days. All you had was the post office and.
And you probably didn't even know where people were going if
No,
they had
exactly.
difficult
No,
circumstances at
and
home.
vice versa as well.
Yeah.
And you just had to fend for yourself. Okay. I said I'd never ever mention teachers. Whatever. There was one particular guy, my housemaster, and the headmaster. I'll name them. The headmaster was a guy called Mr. Horowitz, and he was the head of the whole institution. He was a brilliant guy. Very, very nice guy. My housemaster was a guy called Mr. Dickens, and his wife lived in the same. These were massive houses. It weren't just like two up, two down. These were like sort of very small, stately homes, and there was lots of them, all down one side, all down the other side. Mr. Dickens, his wife, was with him, and she was a lovely woman. And I don't know if they had I think they had a little girl. I don't know if they had it like whilst I was there in the school, or whether or not she was born and lived there with them before I got there. That I can't quite remember. But he was a lovely, lovely, lovely man. But one particular guy, he was the deputy headmaster, and boy, did you have to be wary of him. And because I stood up to him once, when I was about 11, it was, and I'd got to know what he was up to, he fell out even more with me.
Right. So your card was marked.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you stood up to him. When you stood, what was the occasion that made you stand up and just step over the line? What was the particular event when you were like, you can't do that, that's not right?
I can't remember what the kid actually done.
Right.
Okay.
But he was laying into a kid.
Yeah. I mean, in full view of many people.
Yeah.
Well, many children.
Yeah.
Okay. I stepped forward, and he didn't like it. Okay. He wasn't a big guy. He was a strange guy. He was strange. But he made me so strong up here, okay, and so wary.
And you're pointing to your head there, so it gave you mental strength.
Yeah.
Because of how he was, it made you very careful.
He was probably the main reason why I'm always very, very careful of people.
That's interesting. So one bad apple means that you always keep your weather eye out for similar characters throughout your whole life.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And there are people like that.
There's many people like it.
You reckon you don't think there's few and far between? You think there's...
No, I don't. I'm very good at reading people, Dave, and it was only because of my childhood. Okay, if 25 guys, 30 guys, 10 guys tell me that someone is a great human being, blah 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 blah, but I think differently. I would bet my mortgage, I haven't got a mortgage now, we're mortgage free, okay.
Look at you.
But if I had a mortgage, I would bet my mortgage that I was the one that was right.
So it's given you a very firm conviction of knowing humanity.
Yeah. If you want to put it in journalistic terms, yeah. I mean, you know.
You've mentioned in our previous conversation, and just now before we started recording, you said my childhood has given me an approach to life which is whatever's in front of me, I either fight it or embrace it.
Yeah.
The fighting it I can understand. Tell me about the embracing it, because it means to embrace something means you trust utterly. And you welcome the good things in life.
Yeah, I do. I do welcome the good things in life, like meeting my wife, okay, and her family, which was, I think there's only a few left now, but they were wonderful, wonderful people. My mother-in-law, if she wasn't the nicest person in the world, she was in the top three. And she was a one, and that makes you appreciate things even more, you know. My sister, she met my mother-in-law a few times, and they just loved each other. They just loved
that's great.
each other.
Oh, that's lucky. Once you got out in the world, having had the start that you did, being able to read people, being able to kind of look out for yourself, because it makes you very resilient. If nobody else is looking out for you, there's no backup,
No,
just
I
you.
had to. It was exactly that situation, Dave. I was on my own, and I was the only one that was going to look after me.
Have you carried that through life?
Yeah.
Or is it softened as time has gone on and life has dealt you some good cards?
Away from, life has dealt me some good cards. My daughter, okay, my two granddaughters, and my two great granddaughters.
So you've got a family. You've got a family stretching out, going down the years.
Yeah.
You give them all the love that you know they need because you didn't have it when you were a kid.
Sometimes I ask myself, is that the reason why, or is it because my daughter is my daughter, okay? Then I think to myself, like, well, don't worry about why it is, okay? It's there, okay? And I don't worry too much about that, okay? So I accept it and I give it, and me and my daughter, we are extremely close, and we always have been. We did a lot of things together when she was young. It's just father and daughter relationship.
There's also the fact that all of us, when we become parents, are making it up. None of us know how to be parents, especially with the first one. You're just doing the best you can. You're trying to replicate the good things from your own childhood and not repeat the bad things. What was your, as life went on, what was your attitude towards your mum?
I only ever met her, I think, once, because my mum left.
So your parents separated?
Yeah, and she left. She wanted to take my sister with her.
Yeah.
But my sister wouldn't go, okay, unless all of us. But she never wanted, obviously she didn't want me, okay. And my brother, because he was 10 months, or he is 10 years older than me, he stayed at home with his dad. My relationships with her, I only ever saw her twice, I think. The first time I walked into a room, okay, because my sister had invited her round to her house, and I didn't even know who she was, okay, until my sister told me.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Because you actually hadn't seen her for so long.
It was about
extraordinary.
3.5, and I just didn't know who she was. But I knew the second time. Okay, and I think there may have been a time after that I met her somewhere. Can't quite remember. That was it. No,
She just wasn't part of your life, and she was not important to your life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, because when my sister left after the 6 months, which I was supposed to be after 6 months as well,
Yeah.
wasn't until 12 years later.
Yeah.
No one was part of my life, you know, apart from the people that were in this institution. They were my life.
I'm just imagining, if I was in your position, that my emotional landscape for the whole of my life would have been formed in those early years, and everything I understood about life came from those early years.
Yeah. Everything that was important to me, Dave, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Because don't forget, this place, Hutton Residential School, was a massive place. It was like a park, and you had woodlands all around the side. And it was like, if it weren't through that, I'd be climbing over rubble in East London.
Yeah.
You know? So it gave me that, and I used to, every time after school, in the summer obviously, I'd walk across, and I'd spend a lot of time in the woods, like reading, doing whatever. Weekends, because weekends, a lot of the kids used to have visit from their family, but because I didn't have one, I didn't have a visit. Okay, I never got. I didn't get a visit from anyone. And I'll tell you a very funny story. We used to go on holiday every year. They used to take us. We used to go to places in Kent, Dungeness, okay, so on, so on.
Down
and
on
so
the
forth.
coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you do the hot picking?
No,
No,
we
right,
didn't do that. And we used to get pocket money, and we used to get a shilling a week or whatever it was, and we got it, okay, and we queued up for it and whatever. And then one Christmas, all the kids that hadn't been getting visits from relations, whatever, and didn't have no presents for Christmas, had to queue up and ask the headmaster, who was Mr. Dickens, okay, what they wanted for Christmas. So my turn came, and I wanted a gun and a holster, okay, because Alan Ladd and all that nonsense, okay.
Was he a film star at the time?
Yeah, he was the biggest cowboy film star going, I think, okay. So
you wanted to emulate your cowboys.
Yep. And we all used to play like, when I was 6, 7, whatever age it was. Anyway, the story I wanted to tell you was this was how it was. Got my Christmas present, and at the end of the bed in the dormitory, we woke up. I had my apple and orange, okay, and banana, so on and so forth. And I got what I thought was my gun and my holster. And when I opened up, when I ripped the paper apart, I had the gun, but I didn't have the holster. And when I asked where the holster was, I was told that I'd have to wait till next year to get that. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
But I was happy.
Yeah, you were happy. You had the gun.
I was okay.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is the way you talk about it, the way I understand it from what you've said is.
I don't trivialise it. I can't trivialise it.
But it wasn't all bad. It wasn't a Dickensian Victorian
No, it wasn't like
upbringing of awfulness.
No.
There were positives to take from it, and
Yeah.
there were learning points.
It wasn't like a work-ass
Yeah.
attitude or anything, situation. Nothing like that. It's just that you had to be very, you know the story, okay, of what happened in a lot of these places,
Yeah.
okay,
Badly
with
run.
all the sexual abuse and this, that, and
Yeah.
the other. That never happened, not as far as I was aware.
Yeah.
Okay, it certainly didn't, and I wouldn't allow it to happen to me anyway. All it did was made me, because I was fed up with getting the cane, okay, and 6 of them because I had my hands in my pocket.
Yeah.
Okay,
6 whacks.
or because I used to eat my mate's porridge, okay, at breakfast because he hated porridge. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, no, it wasn't like that. Okay, just made you had to tread very carefully. Put it like that.
Everything that you've talked about is out of the ordinary. You've lived an extraordinary life. Whether you feel it is or not, it's definitely unusual what you experienced. Now you're 79. You're defying the odds with cancer. You're defying the odds with the kind of the life and the happiness you've gained despite a very, very tough beginning. Does it make your outlook on life quite simple, or does it make it quite nuanced and complex because of all your experiences in life?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, as I said to you on Sunday, whatever is in front of me, I have to accept, and I either get on with it, okay, or give up. The day I was given the 6 months to live, which was Thursday, December the 20th, yeah, and I don't get that wrong, and I'll never forget that. The day I was given 6 months to live, all I ever did, and this is exactly what I did, and I went,
You've raised your middle finger.
he said, Colin, he said, we've known each other for years. He said, I never wanted to give you that now, but the rules and regulations says that I have to.
And this is the doctor giving you
This
the
was
news.
the professor, yeah. He said, but I knew you would do that. Okay. And when I was given my so-called, and their office was next door, my so-called end-of-life nurses, I said, thanks, but no thanks. I said, they can come back in many years to come. And touch wood, hopefully it's going to be another few years. It's going to be many years. And when you asked me, what do I feel like, which was your very first question on Sunday, what do I feel like when I wake up in the morning? I think I said to you, I'm glad I'm awake, or I'm glad I've woke up. And that will always be my first thought.